Well, I've never seen the bees do this before, and I can only imagine that they're swarming. So I guess I guess we'll just see what happens. Live and learn here. Well, the bees have swarmed, and they're about 20 feet up on this maple tree here. And at least I know what a swarm looks like now. I think that I may try to bend that down. I really don't know what I'm going to do about that. Okay, so the bad news is that the bees have swarmed and they're about 20 feet up in this tree. And the good news, or I don't know if it's good news, but I'm going to try to cut that branch gently so the branch comes to the ground, and then I can snip the swarm off of the tree and drop them into the hive that's not being used. So we'll see how that goes. I cut the branch down and I dropped the branch into this new hive, and it really didn't go very smooth. The branch kind of fell on the ground, and then I had to pick up the branch and shake it into this hive. So you can see the kind of bad job I did cutting this branch down, and a lot of the bees are still here on the grass, and hopefully the queen is now in the hive and these bees will find their way over there. So I did shake the bees into this hive, and really it's kind of a wait and see game now. I thought that I saw the queen on the landing board here, but I don't see her anymore, and I can only hope that she's gone back into the hive and this will become another hive. We'll see. It's been almost an hour since I cut the branch down and put, I would say, a little bit more than half of the bees in the new hive, and there's still quite a few bees on the ground here, but this pile of bees seems to be getting smaller and smaller, so my hope is that they're finding their way over to the new hive. It's been just about 2 hours now since I cut the branch down and then shook most of the bees into the new hive, and you can see that there's just a couple still here in the grass, but I think that most of them have worked their way over to the new hive, so we'll hopefully they'll stay in the hive and we'll check back on it tomorrow. So that was from about a week ago, and you can see I still have bees coming and going in this hive, and they're coming back with pollen on their legs. So I'm assuming that the hive is still functioning. There's a queen in there and she's laying eggs because the bees are coming and going as normal. The bees that I did put into the hive that wasn't being used, only stayed there for that night and half of the day. By the middle of the next day, they were all gone. So I have no idea where they went. And what I'm doing now is making a swarm trap, or I've already made it. So let's go take a look at the trap. I'll talk a little bit about how the trap is supposed to work and why the bees swarmed in the first place. This is the swarm trap, and I've designed it so the bars that fit in the hive will fit into the trap. And basically, I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to hang this yet. I have to do a little research. But what I want to do is make a suitable temporary home for the bees, so if they ever swarm again, or maybe even catch a swarm that's not my own, just a swarm that might be in the neighborhood. Anyway, and people do that. Some people don't buy bees, they just catch swarms, and that's how they become beekeepers. And I think that's the case with the guy from Burt's Bees, actually. There's a cool documentary on him on Netflix if you want to check that out. So anyway, Why do the bees swarm? Well, the queen bee sends off a pheromone, and that's kind of like a vibe. She's sending that out to communicate with the worker bees and tell them that everything's good, continue to work as normal, get your pollen, your nectar, and tend to the brood comb and make more comb. But once that communication starts to break down, the bees get antsy and they start to create queen cells. So they're making a new queen. And now they're starting to think about splitting the hive. And when that happens, the existing queen leaves the hive, and half of the hive goes with her, and generally they'll ball up somewhere. So in my case, they balled up on a maple tree about 20 feet up, and then from that ball, they send out scouts to look for a suitable home. And so at that point, it would have been good if I had my swarm trap set up, because there's a good chance that they would have moved into it, and then I could have moved them into the other hive. But anyway, so it's not the end of the world. I still have the bees. I just have half the hive. And who knows, maybe I'll catch another trap, or not a trap, but I'll catch another swarm when I set this one up. So I haven't done an art video in a little while, but I made a painting this morning, and I thought I'd just show it to you and talk about some of the influences behind that painting. These are two paintings that I painted this week. This one I painted this morning, and this one I painted, I think, on Wednesday. And they're inspired by two different artists. And I always say it's good to look at a lot of different paintings, because it can help you step outside of your normal routine. And so I really like the artist Richard Diebenkorn, and one of my favorite paintings by Diebenkorn is A Still Life with Tomatoes. And he's painted everything from still lifes to figurative paintings, interiors, and large landscapes. And I just like his work, so I wanted to incorporate some of the stuff that he would do into some of my paintings, just to see what direction it took me and see what I could learn from that. And if you want to see more of Diebenkorn's work, go to the post that that matches up with this video, and I'll have 2 or 3 paintings by Diebenkorn on that post. And the next painting was inspired by the artist Wayne Thiebaud. Wayne Thiebaud is famous for painting things like cakes, pies, and if you notice, there's a lot of blue in the shadow of the apple and the knife here, and that's a direct inspiration, or I guess you would call it, from looking at his work. And it's just something I wanted to try in my own work and see how that effect worked. So, and it's fun. I like the painting, and I'm going to put this painting up on eBay. There will be a link in the description if you want to check that out. So I don't have a painting video today. All I can say is it really helps to look at a lot of different paintings, and I would suggest looking at the paintings by Wayne Thiebaud and Richard Diebenkorn. You can see paintings on my post, or just do a Google search for those two artists. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.